No, I haven't got any of me as a child here at all.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like to
Yep.
tell us a little bit about
Okay.
who these people are?
Yep. Here we are then. Well, the photos I put together here, I haven't got any of me as a tiny little child here. They might be in the book later on. But picking this up, this is Trevirick School here, when we celebrated the 100th year of the school, like the centenary of the school. And they put a pageant on. And it was written by my cousin, Edwyna Jones there. And then the people from the area took part, and it was written out like that, like the school board when the school started, for them to get a school at Trevirick. So there was a scene of the school board and that. We had a scene of the children in school, and they took part and they did different singing and reciting and all that. And then we had speakers here, and well, there was a bit of everything in it, to be honest. The life of the school right through the early years, it was like, and it was quite an enjoyable evening, to be honest. This was the head mistress at the time. She lived at Talabont, so myself there. And then this lady here, she was a teacher as well. This was my headmistress when I was at Trevirick School here, and she, after retiring, lived in a bungalow at the back here. And I'm going back to this teacher. She used to live in this house where I am now. When we bought it from her when we married, and she moved out of Penry Court to live. And she was a teacher here at Trevirick School, but she travelled from Aberystwyth every day to come to school here. Like, she was the primary, the infant, and she was the junior teacher. So that is what that is, and all the children of the area and the locals of the area that enjoy doing things in the community, you know. And we got them from the very small children right through to the secondary school. So that is what that is. And then this one here is another event that we used to have at the school here. It's when I formed a youth club here. And going back to here to Mr. Cledwyn Vychan, who came here to live in this village and was very, very energetic and did a lot of work here in the area. He wrote pantomimes for us to perform. You'll see a few photos later. And different things, and he started the show off here with us as well. He was ever so good. So we went walking right over Plymlimon, not to the summit of Plymlimon, but we came from the Machynlleth area. We went over in cars there, some people dropped us off, and we walked all the way back over the mountains, and he talked to us and told us all about all the hill farms and the old places where people used to live, and the miners and all that to live on the mountains and all that. And we ended up coming down the hill opposite my house here, down to the valley here and back. And I don't know, I suppose like we must have walked about 26 miles that day, off and on. And it wasn't very easy going either. It was over, you know, boggy land. It was over tufts of grass and everything, and we had to cross little brooks and everything. But it was a wonderful time, and all these youngsters enjoyed themselves. And that is my youngest daughter there at the back there, and myself, and then the other members of the group, which they thoroughly enjoyed themselves, and I enjoyed being part of it with them. This one goes back to the school weithrin days, the nursery school days. This was the time, 1991, when I took over, and this is the lady I took over from. She was the leader when I left, Mrs. Ellen Evans, and this was the evening they put on to present her with a cheque. And even in 1991, she was given £220, which we thought was very good money when you go back to 1991. And this is my niece here, which was one of her first pupils when she came in. Marielle was in the nursery group then, and there's myself there. So that's what that is. These are two, again, like to do with it. This is Gwennan's work at the back here. Some of the artworks she used to do for us. This is how Gwen and I worked together in the school life train. I would say, I'd like to have this, Gwen, and I would like to see that. Can you do that? And Gwen would go at it with the children and paint. And this was a forest, no, not a wild, yes, a wild forest, wasn't it? At the background on the wall there. And then these were, and we had it up there. We must have had an open evening or something, Gwen, mustn't we?
Yeah.
And then these are two of our ex-pupils.
We did a lot for the Royal Welsh.
Yes, I'm not sure I don't think I've got one of those. But that is what that is. So my pictures are all muddled up. Going back again to the nursery school, this now was just before I finished, when we were in this mobile classroom at the primary school where we had to move out of the village hall, and it was St David's Day, and I was making Welsh cakes for them, for the children there. So I don't know what health and safety would say today with doing that, I can't tell you. They do encourage you, don't they, to do it. Right, going back to me, I was telling you I like to dress up, and I don't mind making a fool myself as long as I haven't got to stand up to give a lecture or anything. So you never believe it, but that's me, dressed in a onesie with a big dummy at one of the fancy dresses here at the community here. I didn't mind making a fool myself, I never have. And these were the children. I think she was frightened of me, by the way. By then, this was another headmistress that came here after Mrs. Jones retired. The one you saw as a headmistress in the centenary picture. Mrs. Davies came afterwards. So, and she used to join us in having everything.
Shall we go into this photo here?
Yes, you can. Oh, that is a school photo of me.
Ooh,
This is my 5 generations. This is myself, my mother, Marion Jones, myself, Sian, my daughter, Hannah, my granddaughter, and little Layla, my great-granddaughter, who's 5 now today. This year she was 5. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
So I'll just go back to one photograph, and that is me in school here at the Mountain Academy. I don't know if they can see it. I'm right in there. I'm very, very tall for my age, as you can see. And I'd be about 12 when that was taken. So those are the photographs.
Oh.
One of the photographs, my wedding day. That's my marriage. That's my wedding photo.
Very pretty.
Now, the why I'd chosen this one to show you was, going back to 1960 when I married, it was black and white photos, unless you had it painted yourself. And it was used to go into the studios then. So this really was coloured up after the photo was taken. And if you looked at it very closely, you can see that. The colours are right, but that is the only thing I can say about. I remember about that. You see, I only had horseshoes. Gwennan had her U2R1. I only had horseshoes. But what I want to tell you about my photograph are these lilies. That's the only thing that my mother and myself fell out about before I got married. Was I wanted arum lilies in my bouquet. And Mum said, you don't want arum lilies, those are funeral flowers. But I had my way. I had them.
Well, it was your wedding.
And I made my own wedding dress.
Oh.
So, and I made they made the bridesmaid dress as well.
Yeah.
Some of
Very impressive.
Some of the things, again, I'm talking, that I wouldn't lend, I wouldn't borrow, I wouldn't lend them to anybody. And this is my most treasured possession. It doesn't look much, but that's my most treasured possession. And it's the praying hands that my grandson, Hugh, who was Mally's father, made when he was only 7. He was only 7 and he made those of air dried clay. Look, and he'd even put nails. He always knew that I had a picture of praying hands upstairs and used to look on that. And we used to sing the hymn to him, you know, Gwennan, Dwy Law and Erfyn.
Yeah.
And we used to tell him the story, although he was only
Beautiful.
7. And he made that, and that is my most treasured possession are those. I would never lend those to anybody. And then, last Christmas, I was given this by one of my other grandsons, Ruth's son, and it's called Soapstone, so I understand. And it's Mangi on it, grandmother, and it was my youngest grandchild gave me that, and he was 21 now, last week. So that is what that is. Here I've got a letter, an airmail, that was sent to me as a child from my uncle when he was in the forces. He was in the war, to be honest. I can't read the date, I haven't got my glasses with me, but he sent me that. That was what I had. It was for the family, but it was in my name, as you can see. So that's very precious. This is a school report from the primary school up here at Trevirig, when I was in the primary school. That's what that is. This here, these are I haven't got a box as usually like Gwennan. This is when we used to go to the school in town, the secondary school. We used to have we had to carry our travel ticket with us to go on the bus. Although it was a school bus, we had to have the travel ticket with us. So that's what that is.
Yours.
Have you got yours?
No.
Yeah. And then this
We
is
lost it at
this
the
is this was the first autograph book I was ever given by a friend. 1951 it is. I'd moved from my mother. It was Christmas 1951. It was the year I went into grammar school, and so I've had quite a few afterwards, but that one is the first one.
What's your most famous signature in there?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell you. I never thought about that. I haven't got many. I got a few actors in one of them, of a group that came to Aberystwyth, but that was years later. And then this one here is a little hanky from 1951 again, that was given to me by a friend. She was lucky enough to go to London to go to the Festival of Britain celebrations in 1951. And she brought that back to me as a child, must be, so I've kept that. So that is there. Going back, I've just brought these. I think you might be right to see, this is what I'm saying, there books have been written about this area because Cardiganshire lead mines and William Morris. I understand that I am descended from the Lewis Morris, his family. He was an overseer at the lead mines up here. And then these have been written by different people just to show you this is where the wealth was. If you went up the road, you would see that scene now of that fall down like that. So that is what those, I just brought them to show you. And then it's the same again. This one is to show that the Penryncoch, this is the chapel at Penryncoch, and the person who wrote this used to be the librarian at Aberystwyth, chief librarian, and he had looked back into the history of the Gogerddon estate and their connections with the chapel at Penryncoch, and we were all given a copy of this book by him. And then Gwen and myself at the Ysgol Feithrin, we brought out 2 cookery books. When we were there, the parents all gave us their favourite recipes, and it was Gwennan and her husband who did all the...
Can you tell how primitive? I typed it all up and he
did.
photocopied it. It was
Yeah.
because we didn't have things like printers
No.
and computers.
So this is what this is the second. This is number 2, as you can see. Number 1, for some reason, I cannot find it. But I have been involved in another one since, and that is here somewhere in the file with our nursery, with our retirement group here at Trevirig. So there's 3 cookery books flying about that I've been involved in.
Is that this one?
That's the one. That is the one that was that we did from at the retirement group here. Those photographs, those things in there are to do with the retirement group. We show you how active we were. We were only a very, very small group. We did this wall
Beautiful wall hanging.
hanging. I've got it upstairs, but if you look in the book and in that cover there, that will show you every panel. We did a panel for every one of the little villages around here. Also a map showing the area and one of the school itself. So that is that. And those, we were the members of the group. That was Mrs. Jones, that was the headmistress at the centenary I was telling you. She came back to unveil that when we did it. Rose and myself were the ones that sort of did the heavy work, but all the others either crocheted, knitted, embroidered, or something to do with the picture. And like today, it is nice looking back on that and seeing all their faces. So and this is all the other work we did. We did a project every year. One year we did the cookery book, and we had aprons. We made aprons for ourselves. We kept everything in the file to show, like, they're not mine, they are in the file. We made, and that was the logo that Terry over there designed for us to put on our aprons. So we all wore these aprons. We had the cookery book up to sell, but we also had a spread of food on, some of the items out to the book for people to taste. So that was one year. The other year we did the wall hanging and all that. So that is what we got there. So that is it, really.
Going to this one?
Yes, that shows you now. This is Penbontrabede, where we are today, and these are the other villages in this parish, because the parish is known as Treveirig, but they've always thought of this area as being Treveirig. Penryncoch comes under the parish of Treveirig, but this is what locally is known as Treveirig. So you've got Penrhyn Newydd, which is only 6 little houses and one farm, and Troen Presg and Penrhyn Newydd. This is the signpost up where we are now. So if you go over the hill, you'll go to those. If you go up to Cwmsymlog, where the lead mines and Edwyna are up there, and over the bank there, you come to Bancadarren, and Salim is down below those. So and then it's just shows you how we went at it, how we thought of the ideas of what we were going to do for every one of the panels and all that. And some of the photographs we took beforehand to do all that. This is what this is, our planning. And we decided then what we were going to put on every panel from this collection of work. That is what that is. So finished panels there.
All right. Right. There we are.
1944.
And then to finish, we just have
These things over here.
my, what is that? Oh, my honeymoon. Just to show, I did tell you about these at the beginning. These are my treasured possessions, the Isle of Man TT races. I only wish I had a player now that I could play them again and listen to them. So that is what those are there, all of them. So, and then my 70th birthday, as I'm saying, they put a spread on for me, my niece, and she got all my friends and all that together. That's one of the photos, that's their invitation to get people to come to the party. That is one of the pictures that is missing now. I can't find the original. So they did that, and then they sort of did my life right through in this. There's me at 3. Smaller in my apron at my old family. And this is my grandmother on my father's side, That is the old family home where I lived till I married. And that is where I was born. That is up where my mother and father lived in Comervin, and that should be one of my grandmother. No, that's me again. And that's where I lived. It should be one of my other grandmother, Ankadar somewhere. There's my father. And then my mother. And that's the house where I was born. So I think I've gone enough through it for you. These are all my pictures of the family. Oh, that's one of my holidays before I married to the Isle of Man. To Blackpool. The year before I married, that was. So I think that's it.
Nice.
Is that all right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, beauty. Can we get some close-ups if that's
It's
okay?
up to you now. Do as you like.
Right. Shall we?
Well, that was a couch. Yeah.